Most people try to change what they eat, but what they don't change is their beliefs about themselves. And when you don't change the beliefs that you have about yourself, your brain will always drag you back into old habits. So today, I'm breaking down the 3 beliefs that you must have to stay a normal eater for the rest of your life, and if you want to keep the weight off that you lose. I'm Jaycee Spagrud. I'm a life coach trained in mind management and thought work. And for the last 5 years, I primarily worked with women, teaching them how to stop overeating, how to become normal eaters. Once my clients learned the reasons why they are going to food for comfort, to avoid discomfort, once they solved that, everything else in their life began to change too. The same tools that they use to eat normally are the same tools that they use to stop quitting on themselves, to show up differently in their relationships, and to follow through on their commitment. What's really important to me is teaching you how to take responsibility for the life that you're creating, because you are in control. You are creating your own reality. So if you know what you want, but you feel like something is always coming in the way, this show is going to teach you how to remove that barrier for good. Okay, I'm teaching you the 3 beliefs that you must have if you want to become and maintain and remain a normal eater for good. So belief number 1 is that you have to believe I am capable of this. Not only the thought that this is possible, but it has to be the thought, I am capable. A lot of the women who've come to work with me in my high proximity containers, the 10-10-10 accelerator or the mastermind, a lot of them came in initially with already having practiced my 4 good method, the 2 steps that I outlined for you in a previous episode that I teach to become a normal eater. And it was through that initial process that they started to have the belief, this is possible. I am capable of this. And the reason why my clients have so much success is because they have already made the decision. Notice I'm using the word decision. They've made the decision that it's possible for them because they've practiced it. So you can practice those 2 steps. I've outlined them in my first couple episodes. They are doable. You don't need anything. You don't need to purchase anything to start practicing them. I do highly recommend getting the mini course if you're unsure about hunger satisfied. You want some tools and tricks with what to say to yourself when you want more. You have a lot of those urges to finish your plate or eat before you're hungry. That mini course can help you with that. But really, you can have the belief this is possible for me just by paying attention to those 2 steps and starting to eat that way. Because when you start to notice yourself eating that way and it feeling good to you, when you feel like this is doable, then you start to have the belief in yourself, I am capable of this. One of the obstacles that gets in the way of this belief of I am capable is I haven't created this result before. So what you're doing when you think about all of the diets that you've done in the past, all of the attempts, all of the money you've spent, it starts to create doubt in you. You're comparing yourself now and in the future to something in the past. And the reason why that's a problem is because you can never compare yourself to something you've never created before. You haven't created the result of long-term normal eating yet, right? So your brain will naturally do this. It is in our wiring to avoid pain, like we've done in the past by doing all of the diets before. Your brain is doing what it's designed to do. But what you need to remind yourself is that it is a thought error. I am doing something completely new. So you do not become capable because of your past and your past results that you've created. You become capable because of what you believe. So let's assume that I'm speaking to you because you don't yet feel capable of losing your weight for good. Let's say that's the goal that you want. My goal is by the end of this episode, you will feel capable at least. And capability is a construct of your mind. And so I'm reminding you of this. You aren't born capable. There's not special snowflakes out there who are the capable ones, the ones who can achieve the results. There's nothing special about the people who have lasting results in their life. You become capable by deciding that you are capable. It is that simple. It's a redecision to believe something new about yourself. Now, you might realize that this is much more challenging, and that's because if you don't have that consciousness, if you've never thought about what you think about, if you've never questioned your own brain, you're actually just going to think that your thoughts are just observations of reality. So you might think things like, I'm just not good at following my plan. I'm just not good at remembering to check in with my body's hunger and satiety signals. Or I've just always given up on everything that I start. So you think that those thoughts are true, but what I'm telling you and what I'm reminding is that that is just a thought that you let your brain think. And you've let it think that thought over and over again. And so it feels very true. You've created this belief that I'm incapable. But what I'm reminding you is that your thoughts are subjective and you actually get to choose your own thoughts. Okay? So this is kind of like the first step of consciousness. Oh my gosh, mind blown. I can choose to think something new. And this isn't shouting affirmations. This isn't speaking things that aren't true, because there is truth that you are capable. Especially if you do practice my very doable 2 steps. If you can align yourself with, oh my gosh, I get to put whatever it is I want on my plan in the morning, and I get to follow through on that plan using some of these tools and tricks about reminding myself if I want something different, I can plan it tomorrow. If that feels doable to you, and if you get 1 day under your belt, you can already create the new belief that I am capable of this. It is possible for me. So here's the contrast of thoughts. Maybe it is possible for me versus it's not possible for me because I've never done it before. One of them produces the incapability feeling inside of you. I'm incapable of producing this result. Therefore, you will eat off of your plan. You won't check in with hunger satisfied. When you overeat for one of your meals, you'll tell yourself, yep, I blew it. Might as well overeat again for the rest of the day. You'll just recreate more of those same actions to build up that evidence that you can't do it. Conversely, when you tell yourself, I am capable of this, even if you do overeat, you're going to remind yourself, it's okay. I can just eat the next thing that's on my plan. Maybe I'm capable of following through for the rest of the day. After all, I made this plan. And then when you take that action of just following through on your word to yourself, it creates that feeling of capability. Now, here's another thing about incapability. If you're listening to this, or let's say you've listened to the entire series and you're telling yourself, well, that sounds nice. That was really nice to listen to her speak about all of this. Maybe I'll try this one day. It's already a sign that you're feeling incapable, because incapability stalls your progress. You will not get started. You will not do the thing. You'll tell yourself another time, another day, another month when the timing is right. That is a sign that you're already feeling incapable, because if you were feeling capable, you would do the very thing that you know that you need to do right now because you believe it's possible for you. And notice when you stall getting started, it actually proves your original belief true. It's not possible for me. I always start and then I don't finish. So your very first step is to pay attention to what is the thought that I'm having that is making me feel incapable of becoming a normal eater for the rest of my life. That is the thought you need to pay attention to, and then switch it. How do you switch it? I've told you many times, the solution to becoming a normal eater is the 4 good method. It's the 2 steps. Because why? It creates the self-trust. It creates the capability. It creates beliefs because it's so incredibly doable. And of course, it aligns with what normal eating looks like. Okay, so making a deliberate, conscious choice about whether to keep that old limiting belief or to change it. This is why it's so incredibly powerful to work with a life coach, because even as you begin, let's say you're working with me and you're doing the normal eating accelerator, where you're practicing those 2 steps, the new challenges, the new negative beliefs will come up, and we want them to come up so that you can pay attention. You can have that consciousness. Oh my gosh, I've been thinking this. And so you've been subconsciously or, feeling this undertone of doubt and disappointment and almost fear of it not working for you. So if you don't have a coach, you can hash through some of those thoughts. When you have coaching, and this is even for me, this is why I still have a coach, is because you can take those thoughts and be like, this belief is true for me. And a good coach will be able to wiggle that out, and you can remove it because it doesn't serve you. You can find equal truth for the opposite. And that is what is so incredibly necessary if you want to create the lasting result that you want, that you desire. So if you want the normal eating, you have to believe that I'm capable of this no matter what, because your brain is totally filtering out all of the things that you have good going on, because this is what our brains do. We have the survival brain that likes to attach to the negative beliefs, even if they are hurting us. Your brain doesn't try to hurt you. It just tries to protect you from something new. So there is something scary about eating less, because probably for many of you, eating more feels safe. So even imagining, oh my gosh, I'm going to eat a little less, your brain actually remembers all the times that you've done diets in the past. So it's like, no. We don't actually want this. It's because we're not capable of it. But it's like, wait a second. What are we even talking about here? We're just talking about eating food to fill our body till we're sated, because we know that we're not going to starve ourselves ever again. There's nothing like that will happen for you as a normal eater if you're working these two steps. So bringing kind of that safety into your body and into your mind is so incredibly powerful. So that next believable thought that I might introduce you to is like, it's okay to get a little hungry, right? So one of the main obstacles for a lot of women and men is the fear of getting hungry because of all the diets that you've done in the past. So imagining getting hungry can create a lot of anxiety inside of us. And so that next believable thought is like, maybe it's okay if I get a little hungry, because guess what? It is okay. You won't starve. Your body probably has enough fat reserves on you to go hours without eating, even days. Of course, we can go days, but that's not what we're doing either. We're just waiting probably an extra 10 or 15 minutes sometimes until supper's prepared, and you're not raiding the pantry because you're getting afraid of hunger. Okay, so the more that you practice beliefs that propel you towards capability, the less normal your old thinking will feel. It will start to feel unacceptable for you to think, I can't do it. I can't follow through. Your tolerance for feeling incapable will fade until you simply won't indulge in feeling incapable anymore. For those of you who know my story, my first shift from feeling incapable to capable was on a ride home from the West Edmonton Mall several years ago. We were driving home. I had just finished doing a no sugar, no flour diet. I was on a weekend bender of eating all the sugar and feeling terrible about myself and feeling super desperate. It was my rock bottom moment. And then I opened up an email and somebody shared how I could lose my weight and keep it off simply by eating the foods that I loved, but just not overeating. And that was it. That was the identity shaping moment. In that moment, even though I hadn't even done the steps required to lose the weight, I had a shift. I went from incapable to capable. I had a belief. I could do this. I could write down my food. I could follow hunger satisfied. I saw myself differently, from the woman who couldn't stick to anything longer than 3 or 4 weeks to, I think I can do this. I felt capable because of a thought, because of a belief. And that's what I want to offer you. If you're feeling incapable because of your past, you can change it with just a thought. Now, here's what I found to be true. When you are in resistance, it is very hard to feel capable. And when I say resistance is kind of like a feeling, like a heaviness, like, I can't do this. We all have been there. We've all cut out sugar before. We've all counted calories and tracked macros. For most of us who've done those things, there is a level of resistance, or that resistance comes on us at some point. And usually it's around 3 or 4 weeks for most of us. And so for a lot of you, that is where you get stuck. Because when you're doing something that doesn't feel possible to do long term, or it feels hard, it feels time consuming, what will happen if you do that long enough? You're going to give up and you will go back. You will go from maybe a little bit of capability to complete resistance and incapability. The sad thing is that for women, especially when we have done so many things, like I think the average is 18. Actually, somebody told me that I was 30 weight loss attempts. Is that at some point, a lot of women just give up altogether, which is sad because they are thinking the thought, I am incapable. I can't do this. There's something wrong with me. I'm unworthy. And because they have all of those thoughts in their head, their mind's just a mess of negativity and limiting beliefs that they don't even want to try again. They don't know that there is something out there that's for them that can create normal eating. It can create a lifestyle of normal eating and totally up-leveling every area of your life because of the tools that you practice along with the normal eating for good method. And just to be clear, I have a huge level of resistance. I resist counting calories, putting things in MyFitnessPal, macros, measuring all of that. I have resistance for that, and I'm not going to try to change that. I could try to change some of that maybe with thought work, but if you found something that works for you, that feels like normal eating, that is normal eating, why would I ever try to introduce those things back into my life, right? So I have resistance. Resistance is a good thing because it keeps you aligned with your purpose and I guess the momentum of long-lasting results. So no matter what it is that you decide to do, you have to make sure that there's no resistance there. So let me talk about non-resistance just a little bit more. It comes from thoughts like, this is doable, this makes sense, this feels good, this is possible for me long term. In my opinion, the 4 Good method, the 2 steps, following hunger satisfied, making and following your 24-hour plan, is the non-resistance method. This is why my clients have success. Now, if somebody tells you, oh, writing down your food and following your own plan is restrictive, there's not a lot of weight or truth that is attached to that because it's your plan, right? At no point am I making a plan for my clients. They make their own plan. So what is resistant about that when it's coming from you? So when clients say to me like, oh, it just feels so restrictive, it's like, okay, add 2 or 3 more things to your 24-hour plan. Then how does it feel? And they'll be like, it feels great, but now I'm scared. I'm like, listen, you're following hunger satisfied anyway. So if you don't end up eating the bag of chips that you put on your plan for your snack line, then it's fine. You can plan those chips for tomorrow. And then that creates kind of like this non-resistance feeling. They're like, oh my gosh, there's so much freedom here, right? There's so much freedom, there's so much love, there's so much non-resistance. And that is what produces more capability. When you're in non-resistance, you're going to show up in an emotional state that is unlike any other state that you've been in when you've been trying to reach a goal of losing weight, let's say, right? You feel calm, you feel confident, you feel relaxed. You're in a state of belief. And when you're in those emotions, there's almost a lack of pressure to get to the goal because it feels so good. And that's what I hear from a lot of my clients. Initially, they come in and they're like, I want to get to my goal weight in 3 months. And there's nothing wrong with a timeline for your result. But what I tell clients is like, what if it takes 6? Right? And I usually ask this question around week 3, week 4, 1 month in, and they're like, it's actually going to be okay. And it's like, yeah, because you're learning all of these other tools that make you feel calm. Like the journey is smooth. The journey feels good. So pay attention. Are you feeling the doubt? Are you feeling the fear? And what is it that you're thinking and believing about your journey? What are you thinking and believing about you doing the thing long term? And usually if you are following somebody else's protocol or their plan and it isn't coming from you, you're going to feel like it's unsustainable. And that's probably an underlying thought that you might be having, like, this is unsustainable. I can't do this. Or I missed one day and now I'm off and I'm on and I'm off. And it just feels overwhelming. That is a state of resistance. To tie that into the 4 Good method, the reason why it lasts, the reason why my clients are doing this 5 years in is because it's doable, it's sustainable, it's loving, and it yields the result that they want, which is normal eating and lasting weight loss. All right, so to sum it up for you, the very first belief that you need to have is that you are capable. It's possible for you. And you don't need evidence from your past. Anything that you've done in the past, it doesn't even matter. That doesn't touch or affect your capability. You're capable because you believe you are capable. And the shift from incapability to capability starts with beliefs like, I think this is possible. I believe that I can do this. And I believe this is possible for somebody like me. And if you can't attach onto one of those thoughts, you definitely need to get invested in a life coach who can help you manage your mind. Your brain's a mess. You're going to limit yourself from creating the life that you desire, what I like to call the 4 Good life. Because what happens with my clients, as soon as they sort out their normal eating, they've realized, oh my gosh, I was limiting myself from what I believed is possible just because I couldn't get this one thing sorted. And I have this whole other list of things that I would love to create for myself in my life. And finally, I can see how it's possible because I've learned how to be conscious and pay attention to how my thoughts are creating everything for me. All right. So belief number 2 is a very powerful belief. It's a decision. Here it is. I can and I will keep it off for good. So most women believe, yes, I can lose weight because they've done it before in the past, but where they struggle is the I can keep it off for good part. That's really powerful, and it's kind of creates a lot of fear, maybe a lot of dissonance. Like when you say it out loud, you're like, I'm a liar. That is a sign that you don't have the belief, and you need to get that belief. And it doesn't come from shouting affirmations, people. They don't work. Affirmations don't work. So when you have the belief, I can keep it off for good, it's as good as done, this weight is never coming back again. When you have that level of belief, and you truly see yourself as the woman who keeps it off, you release that last little bit of resistance that is in between you losing the weight, you maintaining that weight that you've lost, and then you keeping it off and not regaining. So sometimes this takes pulling apart all of your fears, the fears that you're never going to enjoy food again, the fear that you're only going to eat little bits of food to maintain your weight, or that life won't ever be as enjoyable anymore. Those are the thoughts that are creating the resistance between you believing that you can keep the weight off. And perhaps it's the very beliefs that are keeping you from maybe investing in yourself. Maybe you've seen the 10-10-10 accelerator where you come work with me for 10 weeks and I get you to a place where you're a normal eater and you know that you have all three of these beliefs in your tool belt. Maybe it's those little beliefs that like, my life isn't going to be as enjoyable, so I don't know if I actually want to invest in myself. It's worth paying attention to, because whenever you have, again, that resistance, that feeling of like, don't think it's possible for me, you've already set yourself up for being incapable. You're already back at square one with, maybe I'm going to dip my toe into this, but I don't really know if I'm going to get the result. And why that's a problem is if you're hiding those beliefs that you have about your capability to keep your weight off for good, you're always going to create that result some way, somehow. So when you start to practice the method and see how it's sustainable and doable, usually around 4 to 6 weeks, you start to believe that I'm going to keep my weight off for good. And the reason why you have that is because you have 4 to 6 weeks of you planning and assessing, you following Hunger Satisfied, you implementing some of the tools to manage urges and cravings and how to deal with all the food pushers and all of life circumstances that come up. And you start to see the vision of you maintaining this lifestyle for the rest of your life. Now, I'm not going to say that the path is all rainbows and daisies. You're still going to make mistakes. You're going to eat food when you have a craving. You're going to step on the scale and it's going to be up and you're going to feel terrible. But when those things happen, you have a choice to make. Will I attach myself to my old identity, or will I align myself with my new identity, where I'm going? The old identity sounds like, see, I can lose weight, but I can't keep it off. Or the new identity sounds like, I'm learning how to lose weight the way that I'm maintaining my weight. And that is going to require me to make the next best decision every time that an obstacle comes up. So the temptation is always going to be there on your path to align with old beliefs. And that's why identity work, aligning yourself with new beliefs, is so imperative on your path to becoming and maintaining a normal eater. And so this is where it gets tricky for some people. They might be down 50 pounds, but then they'll have a thought that sounds like, when is the other shoe going to drop? Am I really going to keep this weight off? Or am I going to sabotage like I always do? And that's where awareness is key. Paying attention and hearing yourself think those thoughts and reminding yourself, okay, that's an old thought. My next step is to think something new. And so that's where working with a life coach becomes incredibly powerful, because even when you feel stuck with a thought and you're like, I can't move past this, a life coach can help you with that and help you move forward. And not just move forward, but it's like that thought becomes less believable, less true. And the next time that it starts to come up, you're like, wait a second. No, that just doesn't have the same feel to it like it did last time. Okay, let's move on to belief number 3. Belief number 3 is, this is who I am now. If you can think that thought and believe that it is true about you, you are golden. It is as good as done that you will keep your weight off, that you will maintain normal eating for the rest of your life. Whatever goal it really is that you have, if it's to be more elegant, if it's to be more calm, if you're able to think about yourself in that way, like, this is who I am now. I'm just this calm, chill person. I'm always relaxed. I'm never rushed. This is who I am now. If you believe that, it is as good as done. Now, here's the thing. You think that you always have to be calm and never rushed. That is not what creates the result. What creates the result of you being this calm person, this relaxed person, this person that's never rushed, is not the absence of you being rushed. It's how you handle yourself when you've given into rushed mentality. What do you do right after? How long are you in that rush mentality before you switch back into calmness, feeling centered, feeling present, feeling relaxed? Okay, so let's tie this into normal eating and weight loss. When you eat off plan, are you beating yourself up? How long are you in that self-sabotage for? Do you eat off plan for a week and then tell yourself on Monday, I'm going to get back started? Or do you remind yourself that no, that is old thinking. I'm not going to start again tomorrow. I'm starting right now. Yes, I just overate. Yes, I ate the cookie that I didn't put on my plan and I ate 3 more. But what am I going to do right now? And the quicker that you can have that turnaround time and believe, no, this is who I am now. But this is the tricky thing. You think that thought isn't available to you because it doesn't feel true. It doesn't feel believable. It's just because you haven't been practicing it. It's because you don't have the belief yet that you are going to that end result. So if you have that belief, like, right, I'm already losing my weight for good, I am capable. If you have those 2 beliefs, attaching yourself to this 3rd belief, this is who I am now, won't be so hard. And I get it, when you overeat, having the thought, this is who I am now, I'm a normal eater, that's tricky because you just overate, you're probably feeling full. So it doesn't even like physiologically feel true. And also the actions don't align with who you are as a normal eater. But I want to tell you that you're in resistance. You're in resistance to this belief. And when you feel that resistance, when you feel the doubt, the frustration, the overwhelm, the fear that it's not going to happen for you, you're just going to create more of a self-sabotage. You'll actually delay yourself getting started on the next step. And that next step is just, okay, I'm going to pull out my planner, see what I wrote on my plan for the rest of the day. I'm going to have a glass of water. I'm going to remind myself it's okay because this is who I am now. I am a normal eater. What just happened? Yeah, that doesn't really align with who I am, right? The more that you talk about your actions like that when you make a mistake versus, I'm such a mess. I knew I can't do this. All of those thoughts align with old identity. This is who I am now. I'm a normal eater and I'm making the next best decision as a normal eater. If you can get into that line of thinking, you'll take the actions of a normal eater and then your brain has no choice but to attach to that new identity. The important thing here is you need to start building that identity on day 1. What? Yes, day 1. The belief, this is who I am now, isn't just available to you when you get 10 pounds out from your goal weight. It starts on day 1 when you still have 50 pounds to lose, or 70 pounds, or maybe you do have 10 pounds to lose. It starts on day 1. This is who I am becoming. This is who I am now. I am a normal eater. When you believe that, you are setting yourself up for the identity of a normal eater. And remember, your body and your actions will only go where your mind and your beliefs set the compass. If you set your compass to, I'm becoming a normal eater, this is where I'm going, this is who I am, all of your actions will align. They will follow that belief, that identity that you're creating. So paying attention to the thoughts that create that resistance are, I did it again. Why can't I just be consistent? Am I really making progress? Maybe I'm just always going to be this way. Notice how when you have those thoughts, you immediately feel a negative emotion. Fear, doubt, shame, disbelief. They disconnect you from the identity that you want, the identity of a normal eater. I love what the Bible says about taking your thoughts captive. When one of my old limiting beliefs thoughts come up, I imagine taking it and just like tossing it away. Okay, so take those thoughts captive and dismiss them. That is no longer true for me because this is who I am now. This is where I'm going. Now, I will say that sometimes it's worth exploring a negative thought that you have, but this work is always done best with a coach so that you don't sit in a lot of negative emotions and what I call thought fondling. If you have a coach who can help you look at the thoughts that feel really believable and true and you just can't get past them, that's when it's great to have a coach. But if you are in one of my high proximity programs, I teach you how to coach yourself so that you aren't reliant on somebody else to manage your mind because look, it's a full-time job. we got 60,000 thoughts a day, and there's no possible way that we can pay attention to all of the thoughts that we're having. However, we have to pay attention to the limiting beliefs that we are having, because we are creating so much unnecessary pain for ourselves, emotional pain, right? That's how we experience life, is through emotions. And so it's very important that you invest in yourself to clean up your mind. So, my friends, the 3 beliefs: I am capable, I can keep my weight off for good, I will become a normal eater for good. And the third one, this is who I am now. This feels like a perfect time to mention to you how you can work with me. You can work with me in my high proximity container, the 10-10-10 accelerator, where for 10 weeks, I'm going to work with you to help you become the normal eater you desire to be. Or you can come work with me in the For Good Life Accelerator for 10 weeks. If you've got a different goal that has nothing to do with losing weight, becoming a normal eater, and you just want these tools to live the best possible life that you can without all of the unnecessary negative suffering that you're creating for yourself because of the way that you're thinking, that is going to be your container. Okay, so reach out to me. The links are in the show notes, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Hey, it's Jaycee. Super quick. If this episode resonated with you and you want to take this further, I have 2 ways that you can work with me directly. Path number 1 is for the woman or man who wants to become a normal eater. You're going to work with me for 10 weeks, and by the end of those 10 weeks, you will be the normal eater that you've always desired to be. The second path is my 10-week For Good Life Accelerator. This is for you if you want to up-level every area of your life, build emotional capacity, strengthen follow-through, and develop real self-trust so that you wake up every single day doing the thing that you know that you want to do, so that you can build the life that you've always been meant to create. Both programs are going to help you tap into your potential so that you can live the For Good life, the life without so much unnecessary suffering, and a life lived on purpose. And if you're not ready for weekly coaching or to accelerate your progress, I've attached 2 free trainings in the show notes. The first teaches my For Good method, the 2 steps to normal eating, and the second teaches you how to manage your mind in real time while you're feeling discomfort. And for ongoing teaching, emotional mastery, mind management, intentional living, and how to get out of your own way, join me here on YouTube weekly, hit subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.